My name is Jackie Dzelski, your President and CEO of the Manatee Chamber of Commerce, and welcome to the 59th Annual Manatee Chamber of Commerce Annual Dinner and our 5th Annual Bartz Award celebration. We are thrilled to see this convention center full but spread out and appreciate your investment of your time for being with us here tonight to celebrate the impact of leadership within our business community. For some of us, it does feel like we just did this because we sort of just did, in that we had our 58th annual dinner in June of this past year as we adjusted, like the rest of the world, to the impacts of the pandemic. But again, I am thrilled, our team and our board of directors are thrilled to see such a show of support for what the business community accomplishes in our region. I would now ask that you silence your mobile devices. We'd love for you to have them out to take photos and videos and share on social media, but we would appreciate it if those ringers didn't go off during our dinner. And with that, I invite you all to please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. After a little squeaking, we'll start with, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you so much. You may be seated. I have the honor of recognizing a number of companies who stepped forward with tremendous support again this year to support our 59th annual dinner. I'm going to be sharing names of a number of companies and organizations that made this evening's possible, so I appreciate lots of raucous applause. I hope your hands hurt by the end of the evening for all of the applause and appreciation that you will feel compelled to share. Our corporate sponsors for this evening event are Bob Boast Volkswagen, the Bradenton Herald, Florida Power and Light, the Mosaic Company, and the Realtors Association of Sarasota and Manatee. Thank you for your top-level support of this evening's event. You will also see several additional slides as well as recognition in your printed program for a number of other companies that stepped forward to offer support for tonight's event, both in investment as well as in-kind services. They're all recognized and they're all important. A big thank you to our caterer, Pier 22. They have been here almost as long as the chamber staff has been here setting up today, and I am excited for them to share a meal in just a few minutes. For those of you who have attended a number of our annual dinners, you know one of the most special pieces that we're able to produce in partnership with the Bradenton Herald for tonight's event is a 2-page spread that will run in the newspaper. You all have a sneak peek at that piece at your seats, so I hope you'll take a look at that. It recognizes our board of directors, our committee chairs, and the top investors and sponsors of the Chamber's mission and our program of work for the past year. So thank you so much to the Bradenton Herald team. They're here this evening, and we are thrilled at this type of exposure for our business community. You know, every chamber member's investment is critically important, and we do our very best to keep our dues as low as possible so that that is not a barrier for a local employer, a small business, a nonprofit to be engaged in our chamber. And that means that we rely on a number of organizations to step forward and give significant investment well beyond their annual dues. And they are part of our chairman's circle. And so you'll see on screen some recognition as I go through a list of names of companies that have stepped forward, many for many years, to invest in the Chamber's mission and allow us to always be considering what else we can do to bring collaboration and success to our community. Our platinum level investors, you will see both on the stage behind me as well as on the screen, are Brown & Sons Funeral Homes and Crematory. Mayor Gene Brown and his team are here with us this evening. Carr, Riggs & Ingram, thank you so much to Byron Shin, Garrett Shin, Christy Cardillo, and the CRI team. Our newest platinum investor, new for 2022, is IMG Academy. We are thrilled to have IMG as a platinum level investor. Bruce Patnod is here on our board. Thank you so much. Manatee County Government, we have with us this evening County Administrator Scott Hopes, as well as our county commissioners. Thank you for that investment in the Chamber's mission and supporting local businesses. Manatee Memorial Hospital, Dr. Tom McDougall and his team are here. Manatee Memorial has been a long-time investor in the Chamber's platinum level. MCR Health and All Care Options, Dr. Bill Colgate is with us this evening. The Mosaic Company, I know Bart Arrington, I saw him earlier, and the Mosaic team have joined us. NDC Construction Company, thank you so much, Ron Allen and the NDC team. The Pittsburgh Pirates and Bradenton Marauders, Jeff Podobnik, Craig Warcheka, thanks so much. Raymond James Wealth Management, Bruce Body, I saw Bruce here with his team. The Sarasota Bradenton International Airport, Rick Piccolo, and we all know about the incredible news coming out of the airports over the past 2 years. And South State Bank. Thank you so much, Chris Perkins and the South State team as well. If you could please share your appreciation for our platinum investors. We also have a number of members that invest at the gold, silver, and bronze levels. You'll see recognition for those companies and organizations on screen, as well as in your printed program. As I said, their support allows the Chamber to constantly be looking at how we can evolve, what else we need to be doing. And as we like to say, if not the Manatee Chamber, then who? And this type of financial support makes that possible. So one other way you can support the Chamber this evening is with the silent auction. I saw lots of you back there. There are 78 silent auction packages. So there's something for everyone back there. The silent auction will close at 7:30, so when we take our break for dinner, you'll have the opportunity to step back there, see if someone's outbidding you, and I encourage you to bid high and bid often, please, for our silent auction. And thank you so much to Formella Construction, who donated our raffle prize for this evening. Many of you bought a raffle ticket on your way in. If you didn't, don't worry. Chamber staff will come around at dinner to give you that opportunity. It's for a 5-night getaway at a beautiful cabin in Blue Ridge, Georgia. So someone will be going home with that raffle prize this evening. I now would like to take a moment to recognize the elected officials and the representatives of public office that are with us this evening who have made it a priority to be with the Chamber of Commerce tonight. I hope that I will get everyone. If you could hold your applause until the end, but if our elected officials and representatives could stand up when I call your name, we would appreciate that. Manatee County Commission Chairman Kevin Van Ostenbridge. Manatee County Commissioners Reggie Bellamy, George Cruz, Misty Servia, and Carol Whitmore. City of Bradenton Mayor Jean Brown, as well as City of Bradenton Councilwoman Pam Coachman, as well as Councilman Bill Sanders. School Board Chair Reverend James Golden, Judge Gilbert Smith, the Clerk of the Circuit Court Angel Colanesso, Scott Farrington, representing the Supervisor of Elections Office, and last but certainly not least, Carol Calenda, representing Florida House of Representatives member Tommy Gregory's office. Thank you so much for making our annual dinner a priority. One other note of thanks that I think is so important to share, given what our community and our country and our world has faced over the past 2 years, is recognition for a group of heroes. And those are the men and women that work and serve in our healthcare industries and our first responders. You have faced unimaginable stresses and pressures and exhaustion over the past 2 years, and yet every day you recommit not only to your profession, but more importantly, every day you're recommitting to the health and safety of our community. Thank you so much to all of our healthcare heroes and our first responders. I'd like to share just a couple of words about the past year's worth of accomplishments. Much more importantly, you're going to hear from our outgoing chairman and our incoming chairman after our dinner break. But if you'll please allow me to get through just a few moments of comment, I think it is so important to recognize what you collectively, as the Chamber of Commerce and the greater Manatee County region, have been able to accomplish. As our community and our world approach the 2-year mark of the pandemic, we certainly know that there has been heartbreaking loss and plenty of financial concerns and uncertainty. But through it all, for me, there have been countless opportunities where my faith in our ability to come together as a community and as leaders has never been stronger. And the work of the Chamber for our team and our board and our committees has never felt more important. Today, you have made us the largest Chamber of Commerce in Tampa Bay once again, and our network grows even larger. And as it does so, it naturally brings more. It brings more opportunities, it brings more resources, it brings more connections, it brings more shared knowledge, and it brings more influence. Since 1889, this community has invested in this chamber because you know that we, together, are both stronger and smarter. And I am so proud to say that as of today, Kim Daglish gave me the update and we shared it with the board yesterday. We sit at 2,050 members who employ more than 68,000 people in our region. If not the Manatee Chamber, then who? Who would be the voice of business on issues like infrastructure and healthcare and transportation and redevelopment? The list goes on and on. But remember, when we say if not the Manatee Chamber, then who, that who of the Manatee Chamber is you. And supporting all of you and all of our members is our awesome chamber staff team. There's going to be a photo on the screen, and I know many of you have interacted with our staff tonight. I want to thank them on behalf of our entire membership for being true professionals and assets to every one of our businesses. Like you, they have dealt with a lot of unexpected challenges over the past several years, but they have responded beautifully, and I couldn't be more proud to be part of their team. You'll see some statistics in your printed program. I think it's the center spread that gives you just a couple of fun statistics about what we've accomplished together over the past year, but I'll tell you that statistics don't always tell the full story. From committee meetings to walking the Capitol in Tallahassee, to a helicopter ride with the Florida Department of Transportation Secretary to show him our roadway networks and where we have challenges and need Tallahassee's support, to a return to in-person networking last year, and I think it was more than a return, it felt like a tidal wave of networking that our chamber offered last year. Our commitment has always been to be the trusted source, the accurate and reliable source of information for our community. I'll tell you, our staff answered thousands of phone calls and emails from local business people who were trying to get connected to resources. Again, if not the Manatee Chamber, then who? And guiding all of this every year is our mission, which is to build a positive business environment while enhancing the community's quality of life. And I am so proud that this business community chooses to, of course, live out the first half of that mission, to build a positive business environment. Of course, a Chamber of Commerce is interested in our economy and growing businesses. But what I think is particularly distinctive and unique is the second half of that mission, which is to ensure that we are always working for a better quality of life in our community, because they're completely interdependent, quality of life and the economic health of our community. So thank you for your support. And then finally, you know that tonight's pinnacle and most special celebration will be the annual Bob Bartz Award. And we are excited about continuing Bob's legacy by recognizing other leaders who live out the kind of service that Bob offered to our community. I hope that you'll each take a moment to read the profile of Bob's leadership that's offered to you in the printed program. You'll hear more as well from speakers in the program. But I'll tell you, those of us that were lucky enough to work for him still feel his influence and his presence every day. And for those of us that weren't lucky enough to work with Bob Bartz, I'll let you know you do feel his influence, whether you realize it or not, in the culture of partnership that exists within our chamber and our community, and the elevation of business leadership to always do what's right, even if it's not what's easy. With that, I would like to invite a great friend of our chamber and longtime facilitator of our annual leadership retreat, Barry Banther to the podium, and he will offer an invocation for us this evening. Barry?
Thank you, Jackie. Please feel free to join me in any way you feel comfortable in prayer or in meditation for a moment. And if you need a nudge about what to be grateful for, just imagine. We're about to eat food we didn't cook on dishes we won't wash. Is this a great chamber or what? So if you will, please join me. Dear God, we thank you for the freedom that we enjoy right here in Manatee County. Thank you, God, for the gift of freedom that allows each of us to profit from our labor. Thank you, God, for those who stand with us and stand guard for us, our policemen, our deputies, our correction officers, our nurses, our firemen, our EMT. Thank you, God, for the privilege to be able to come together like this collectively and enjoy not only our fellowship, but enjoy an opportunity to create an even better vision for the marvelous gifts you've given us. And dear God, we ask you tonight, for those who've suffered loss, family members, relatives, friends, co-workers, their job, their business, we pray, God, you would grant them mercy and grace during this time. Dear God, we ask that you indeed would give us a continued urge in each of our hearts to seek what's best for everyone and not just for ourselves. Dear God, we ask for those of us that are here tonight that you would grant us the gift of humility to recognize we can accomplish very little alone. And in that same breath, God, grant us the courage to collaborate with those, even those with whom we might disagree. This is a privilege you've given us by your grace. We thank you for that. May you bless this county. May you bless our citizens. May you bless this chamber. I pray this in your name. Amen.
Thank you so much, Barry. And now as we prepare to have the Pier 22 staff right on cue come and serve dinner, a note about your dessert, sponsored by the Bank of Tampa. You'll see that there are different flavors of bundt cakes at your table, so choose how you'll divvy those up, and they are packaged to go in case you want to save them for your morning coffee tomorrow. Reminder, our silent auction closes at 7:30, so please check out your auction bids if you need to. And then finally, as we go into dinner, we're going to share a video that was prepared by our good friends at ABC7 that talks about the partnership and the value of the chamber in our community. Enjoy the video, and we'll be back up here in about 20 minutes.
Our community and our businesses are made up of individuals with diverse backgrounds, but common goals. Together, we all want our businesses, neighborhoods, and families to flourish. The focus of the Manatee Chamber's mission is working together to build our local economy and enhance our quality of life. The heart of Manatee Chamber's work is your success. It all starts with connections. We connect you and your business to new customers, to valuable resources, and to people who are committed to thinking, shopping, living, and leading local. As Tampa Bay's largest chamber of commerce, the power of our network amplifies the visibility of local business and creates new opportunities for growth. With more than 2,000 businesses and nonprofit organizations, the members of the Manatee Chamber are making a difference here in the Manatee-Sarasota region. We know that as our community changes, your needs change, and the Manatee Chamber is responsive with strong, informed advocacy. We're your voice with local, state, and national policymakers to impact the issues that build our local economy and our community. Now more than ever, we all need to grow our network. We need resources to help overcome challenges, and we need strategies to help us seize opportunities. That's why we're here, to strengthen your business and our community. We're your Manatee Chamber of Commerce.
Once again, good evening. We're going to go ahead and get started to continue the program, and I will tell you we are literally exactly on time. So we look forward to having you out of here after a very special recognition of leadership. The silent auction has just closed, so you don't need to go back and check. Thank you so much to all of you who supported that. I now have the distinct honor of introducing our 2021 Chairman of the Board, our immediate past chair, Phil Baker, with Boyd Insurance and Investment Services. Phil has a long history of involvement and humble servant leadership with our chamber that literally spans decades. He has served in every role on our executive committee and has chaired our board as we navigated a shifting landscape during this pandemic. But amidst all of the challenges, Phil has been a constant, supportive, encouraging presence on the board, and he has led with open ears and quiet strength. And a really nice thing is that when you get Phil for your chairman of the board, you really get a twofer because you get his lovely wife, Diana, as well, who was really the first lady of the chamber this past year. Not a month went by that some home-baked goodie or treat or a handwritten note didn't show up for all of our chamber staff members, and again, each and every month. And not only that, but you may not know it, but Diana is president of the Manatee River Fair Association, so many of you know what her last 2 weeks were like for those of us that celebrated at the Manatee County Fair. So Diana, thank you for your support of Phil in his chairmanship year. Phil reached his 40th year with Boyd Insurance and Investment Services in 2021, which just speaks volumes about his loyalty and professionalism and commitment. Thank you to the Boyd team who was here. Many were at the office today celebrating in anticipation of tonight for supporting Phil in his chairmanship year. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, could you please give your loudest round of applause of the evening to help me welcome a great leader and supporter and a true friend, Phil Baker.
Wow, what an introduction. Thank you for that kind and warm welcome. Good evening. Thank you so much for the honor of taking the stage tonight as your immediate past chairman. It has been quite a term, and there are so many people to thank for their support. First, I have the pleasure of introducing the other past chairmen of the board who are with us tonight. I now have an even stronger appreciation for the leadership these men and women have given to the chamber. Their commitment has been to the benefit of all of our businesses over many years. They have added to the legacy of leadership of our chamber. I ask that these past chairmen please stand and that you save your applause until I have finished the list. It means volumes that they are here tonight to support our work. Cliff Walters, 1991. Ron Allen, 1996. Transitioning to a new century, Byron Shin, 2000. Mac Caraway, 2009. Chris Pennewell, 2010. John Horn, 2012. Tom Seguin, 2013. Ray Dowling, 2014. Darcy Duncan, 2018. Bill Polton, 2019. And Ernie Withers, 2020. Please give a round of applause to these great leaders. Thank you all. What a great group. Thinking back to the start of 2021, There are actually a number of similarities to where we are today. We were facing a new uptick in COVID, and while we felt like we were prepared to deal with the challenges ahead, there was still uncertainty. We were optimistic that a new year was going to move us closer to a return to normal. We finally, maybe, sort of, figured out Zoom meetings and where the unmute button was, just in time for in-person offerings to start again. This time last year, businesses and employers that were hardest hit by the pandemic were eligible for additional assistance, like second draw PPP loans, and our chamber was right there to provide accurate information and make connections. I am so very proud of the way the chamber stepped up and stepped out to make sure our local business community knew about the employee retention tax credit. And we had a number of local business owners who shared that if not for the Manatee Chamber, they would not have successfully accessed these programs. We know we positively impacted the bottom line of many local businesses. While we started the year uncertain of what was on the horizon, our members were engaged in supporting the Chamber's mission at the highest level. Did you know that we had 472 new members join our chamber in 2021? Yes, that deserves a round. Any of you math nerds that want to join me, that's about 1.9 new business members per business day, day in and day out, all year long. What a team effort by our chamber staff. That's a fantastic number and helped us once again top the list, as you've already heard, as the largest chamber of commerce in the Tampa Bay region. You'll find plenty of other stats in your printed program. But where I'd like to go with my remarks tonight are some thoughts about people, not numbers. Numbers do not begin to scratch the surface of what this chamber, with your involvement, means to our region. First, I would like to recognize 6 board members who completed their board service at the end of 2021. The total number of years that they served was 40 years to our chamber and your community. I ask that these outgoing board members please stand as I call your name. Ernie Withers, Mercedes-Benz of Sarasota, and our 2020 chairman of the board. Jason Bartz, NDC Construction. Bruce Body, Raymond James Wealth Management. Christy Cardillo, Carr, Riggs and Ingram, CPAs. Brian Carter, Malden and Jenkins. And Dr. Bill Colgate, MCR Health. Let's give them a big round of applause. Tonight, we highlight leadership. You've already heard about outgoing board members. You've heard about past chairmen that are leaders. Later, we will hear the Legacy of Leadership Award given to Mac Carraway. President Ronald Reagan said this, and I quote, "The greatest leader is not necessarily the one who does the greatest things. He is the one that gets the people to do the greatest things," end quote. As you carefully listen to the comments that follow, you will see that your chamber and your businesses are loaded with great leaders, and the potential leader pool is vast. Time and time again, the power of people and relationships has been front and center in the work of the chamber. As chairman, I relied on the executive committee, the board of directors, committee members, and chamber staff team to provide energy, expertise, and direction for what we do and how we do it. I look around this convention center tonight, and I know that each of you have faced difficult decisions within your company. But I bet it's the people who helped you along the way that have made the biggest difference. The Chamber's network is filled with people who want to help you access information, connect you with expert advice, and find new customers to help your operations grow. It's the people within our Chamber members' businesses who attended more than 100 committee meetings in 2021. It's people who showed us the power of networking at more than 100 Chamber events in 2021. It's people who drove business to Chamber members by accessing information and the member directory within our Chamber website almost 300,000 times last year. Through all of this, the leaders of our community have made our Chamber stronger, and the future is bright. Speaking of the future and the power of leadership, let's take a quick poll. I've heard you already, so I know you have a voice. But I'd like to ask you, and you're on one or the other, there's only two choices here. I want to hear you shout if you are part of the baby boomer or greatest generation born in 1964 or prior. Let me hear you. Okay, great. Now, how about those of you in generation X, Y, and Z born 1964 and after? Let me hear you. Okay, so now we know who's here. I have a few thoughts and suggestions for you, business leaders. First, are you intentionally preparing for the next generation of leaders? You might want to start if you're not already doing so. After all, we are here tonight to celebrate transition, and it is taking place in your Chamber leadership and all around you. Do the math. The youngest baby boomer is almost 60 years old. Just how long are you going to hang on? New leadership is coming, and it's already here from generations X, Y, and Z. The transition may be sooner than you think. Next, find a way to learn about those in the different generations. It does not have to be overly formal. Just engage them. Find out what's important. Find out what makes them tick. They will surely grow, and you might just succeed if you give them a chance as leaders. Give them a chance to fail. They will surely grow, and you might just be surprised and impressed at the results. Maybe you had a bad experience from somebody in a different generation, maybe an X, Y, or Zer. Does that mean they're all bad? Of course not. Take a minute and reflect on the leadership of your generation. For example, are there not baby boomers that were different than other generations? Maybe not up to par in their work ethic or leadership? I'll bet you know some of your peers that maybe fit this description, so it's not isolated to certain generations. If you're not sure of what the next step is, here are some suggestions, and we're just glancing off a lot of opportunities and potential items. This is not an exhaustive source of strength and growth, but just a place to start. First, get your young employees involved in Manatee Young Professionals. If you haven't noticed, this impressive group of Generation X, Y, and Z professionals has taken off. They are reaching impressive heights and challenging each other to grow and serve as leaders of our chamber, our community, and your businesses. If you have questions or want more information, just see the chamber staff, especially Caitlin Cobb, who's the coordinator, or Craig Waszczeka, who's the president of MYP. I wish you could have heard the presentation by the MYP at our Chamber Board of Directors meeting yesterday. It was uplifting, challenging, and just exhausting with all that they have planned for the future. They are a supercharged group. They are going places. Get on board. MYP presidents have excelled in leadership in your chamber. Past President, Chamber Chairman Chris Pennewell, Representative Will Robinson, Cassandra Burns, Dustin Facillo, Ben Bacher, Stuart Moon Jr., and Chris Locke. Your chamber president and CEO, Jackie Dzelski, is a past member. Another option is to engage your future leaders in Leadership Manatee. This intense leadership engagement program will grow your staff member in many ways. They will make long-lasting business and personal relationships that will benefit them and your business. As a show of strength, would all Leadership Manatee graduates please stand to be recognized? That's quite a number, thank you. Finally, get involved in your chamber. Join a committee and serve. There are over 20 committees and task force opportunities. Opportunities abound. These are not just some rah-rah words about your chamber. I could stand up here tonight and say just about anything I wanted, but I believe so strongly about the good things of the Manatee Chamber of Commerce that I chose to talk about these as my final outgoing chairman comments. These are my legacy words. It is that important to me. It is what I believe, and it is what I want for you. Hopefully you have some food for thought, and now your homework. Take some time and chew on some of the ideas and comments that I've made. Give this some real thought. There are local chamber business members that intentionally challenge their staff to become leaders, and they will surely be willing to share their successes with you. Some have formal mentoring programs. Just ask. Please take advantage of those ready and willing to accept positions of leadership and responsibility. You need to find out who they are. I give you another quote from Andre Gide. He says, and I quote, "You can never cross the ocean unless you have the courage to lose sight of shore." And next I'll have the honor as I close out to introduce two people. But before that, I have just a couple of more brief comments. Anyone who has ever served in a great position of responsibility and challenge understands the sacrifice other people make for you to be successful. There are so many people that gave so much this past year on my behalf. Most importantly, Diana. She continues to be my biggest supporter in success and in failure. Her willingness to share her gifts of encouragement, can-do attitude, unbelievable energy, and administration are, in my opinion, unmatched. I stand here humbled by your love for me and mine for you. My colleagues at Boyd Insurance and Investment Services have been outstanding and unwavering in their support. They have encouraged me, filled in the gap when I have been at chamber events, and have been some of my strongest supporters. Thank you, Table 12, along with some of my other friends, for all your support. As my year as chairman of the board started, I felt like I had a pretty good idea of how effective and impactful the chamber staff is. This past year has shown me how little I really knew. You and I are blessed beyond description with a chamber team that is unparalleled anywhere. We can proudly and boldly proclaim them as the best. It has been an honor to get to know each team member, and I tried to let each one know personally, verbally, and in writing, just how much I appreciated their encouragement and support this year. By design, this program tonight sheds a lot of light on the chairman of the board of the chamber, but the light needs to be redirected to the chamber staff. As I say thank you, please know these words are woefully inadequate. And as I close my remarks, I will do so with a quote from President Abraham Lincoln. Quote, "The time comes upon every public man when it is best for him to keep his lips closed. That time has come for me. Thank you." Now I have the honor of introducing to you a special young man. His name is Shawn Sagdiva. He is a student at the University of South Florida, Sarasota Manatee campus, and was the recipient of the 4th Robert P. Bartz Memorial Scholarship. You will see his photo on the screen. Unfortunately, Shawn was not able to join us tonight. The Robert P. Bartz Memorial Endowed Scholarship at the University of South Florida, Sarasota Manatee campus is a prestigious fund which recognizes students with outstanding academic achievement. It is available to juniors or seniors pursuing a degree in the College of Business and who are attending USF either part-time or full-time. Shawn is an academically high-achieving senior at USF. He is majoring in accounting and is currently completing an external audit internship position at PricewaterhouseCoopers in Chicago, Illinois. We wish him much continued success and thank USF Sarasota Manatee for his continued support of students through the Bob Bartz Scholarship. Thank you very much, and congratulations, Shawn. Finally, I have the privilege of introducing Rick Bisio, our 2022 Chairman of the Board. Rick's company is the Educated Franchisee, and he has been focused on business of franchising for over a quarter of a century. Rick founded his first-time business at age 25. It was what you would call a bootstrap startup, as he secured the exclusive rights to import a variety of Italian plumbing brands. But when he started the business, he knew nothing about plumbing products and had no contacts within the U.S. plumbing industry. Suffice to say, he learned a lot. After selling the business, Rick spent several years both teaching and studying. While working for his master's degree in international business, he was introduced to the franchise business model. This chance encounter changed his life. Rick is one of the most respected franchise consultants in the country, and he's a best-selling author and a regular speaker on the subject of business ownership and franchising. He lives on Anna Maria Island with his wife, Annalise, and 2 children. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Rick Bisio to the stage.
Don't go anywhere. All right. Phil, 2021 was not an easy year, right? And Phil, I want to personally thank you for what it's this calm, level-headed, kind of thoughtful leadership style. And that's really exactly what we needed this year. And really, I learned a lot by watching you, so thank you. At this point, we have a couple of small mementos, as is the tradition, right? So first, we have a personally signed memento from all the chamber staff to thank you for your leadership and friendship during your year as chairman. And Vanna will show the... No? We also have, on behalf of the board and our membership, we have a chairman's plaque. And on the chairman's plaque is a gavel. Now, you may not know this, but a lot of Phil's meetings were virtual, and he had a virtual gavel, right? So this is actual real gavel for you, so you don't have to do the virtual gavel anymore. I also have a very special gift for you, which is under here. It's the Manatee Chamber's Chairman's Pin. It's a custom-designed 14-karat gold and diamond pin, generously designed by Tom and Donna Seguin of Suncoast Gems. And I know you're going to wear it with pride, and I'll try not to pin you. Just, let's see here. A couple of other notes we have. Phil, thank you for your leadership for a very, an amazing year. You've added a lot of legacy to the chamber and to its mission in serving businesses in the community. One of Phil's traditions, and you've probably started to gather this with the sayings and everything, right? So Phil started every board meeting with a saying, every executive meeting with a saying. And we kind of collected these sayings together, and we said, which one really best represents you? So one of them jumped out, because it really related to Phil's leadership style, and it's by Colin Powell. It says, leadership is solving problems. The day soldiers stop bringing you their problems is the day you've stopped leading them. They have either lost confidence that you can help or concluded that you don't care. Either way, it's a failure of leadership. Phil, you had a lot of difficult decisions brought to you during the year as chairman. And with each, you took the time to listen, you took the time to learn, and you guided us as a team in making a great decision. And on behalf of the membership, thank you so much. Now I'd like to recognize the leaders who are serving on the Chamber's board this year. These are the men and women that will be focused on a long list of business and community priorities and opportunities while keeping you and your businesses at the center of the Chamber's mission. I encourage you to turn to page 11 in your book, the printed program there, and you'll see the list of everyone. And as you do that, I'd like to ask everybody who's on the current Chamber board to stand, please. And I can't see everybody because of these lights, so please, everybody stand. Thank you so much. Thank you for your commitment, your leadership. It's going to be an important year. Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to the year ahead and continuing this recovery process. Our community, our region, our state has recovered quite well at this point, and we're on an amazing track. You may not know this, but if Florida was its own country, Florida would be the 15th largest economy in the world. Isn't that amazing if you think about that for a moment? And this is a few years back, we were 17th, and so we continue to grow. This provides opportunities. It provides challenges, right? And these challenges, it comes with the opportunity that we're experiencing. All of these things need the attention and the influence of the business community. We have experienced incredible change as we transition back to a more fully, should we say fully normal life, right? We're getting there. Just this month, we had challenges with Omicron. Just this week, actually yesterday, in regard to setting up the room. So we're still dealing with it, but we all see the light at the end of the tunnel, I think. And I think for all that, we're grateful. And despite these disruptions, we have been strengthened by each other. As Phil said, we are strong because of our people. I look around the room, and I'm amazed at the work that each of you are doing. Our chamber, our community, our leaders, our members have all pulled together to accomplish amazing work in 2021. Now we're ready to move forward. The greater Manatee County region is growing at an incredible pace. And it's in all of our best interest to make sure that we don't lose the things that hold us together. The Manatee Chamber, with its members at every corner of Manatee County and surrounding regions, is a unifying force. We're committed to a mission that works whether you're in Lakewood Ranch or Anna Maria Island, Palmetto or Parrish, Bradenton or Sarasota. We use the collective support and power of the largest membership group in the Tampa Bay region to build our economy and ensure a stellar quality of life. As they say, if not the Manatee Chamber, then who? Who would bring the voice of business to education, Who would bring the voice of business to healthcare, to workforce, to infrastructure? I would like to challenge you, okay? And this kind of goes back to a couple of the comments that Phil made. First, consider joining the Chamber Committee or Task Force. As he mentioned, we have 22 different committees and task forces. What you may not know is that's where the real work happens. Everything starts at that level, and it percolates up through the organization. There's great experience and knowledge in this room. If the Chamber is going to be the voice of business, we need your voice in those rooms in order to inform that voice. So that's number one. Number two is consider referring a business that you work with for membership in the Manatee Chamber. This may be hard for some of you to believe, but there are actually some businesses in Manatee County who are not Chamber members yet. You probably know some of those, all right? We know that they should be members of the Chamber. We know that our Chamber can help them, but we also know that if they become members, it makes the Chamber stronger, right? And our voice becomes stronger as a result. Next, as Phil described so eloquently, the NYP program is a dynamic group of young leaders. They are not only the future of our businesses, they are the people who will be running for elected office. They're the folks that will lead our local nonprofits. They help keep us looking forward towards the future. When we hold up our young leaders now, it lets them know that we believe in them. It lets them know that they can make a difference and that we need them. Finally, I'd be remiss if I didn't remind you to pay your dues. Amazing statistic for you. Annual dues invoices went out just a little over a month ago. Already we have almost 60% of our membership has renewed. That's an amazing statistic. As a matter of fact, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, there was one member that was so excited, they renewed twice. I think they're working that out, but it's very impressive also, considering the fact that 2021 wasn't the easiest year. My guess is that everyone in this room has already paid their dues, right? I also know there's a few that haven't, all right? And I know we've got lots of bills. If you can percolate that to the top of your list and take care of that, that helps us on two levels. Obviously, the renewal's great, but the Manatee Chamber spends a lot of time dealing with renewals, right? So the more time the Chamber staff works on renewals, the less time they have to work on the business of the Chamber and helping Manatee County. So if it's on your list of things to do, I'd love to have you move that up the list. I also want to thank the many nonprofits and government partners who are critical in making our community what we want it to be. Your partnership with the business community through the Chamber is invaluable, and I look forward to working with all of you this year. I'm very excited about the work ahead. I look forward to sharing more successes with you in the coming year. And finally, a quick couple of thank yous. I'd like to thank my Leadership Florida family for being here tonight and supporting me and supporting the Chamber. It really means the world to me. It really does. I'd also like to thank somebody who's not here. I'd like to thank Bob Bartz. I know you're listening, Bob. That's why I'm wearing a tie. That's why I have socks, right? And I'd also like to thank Marie Pender and Neil Spiritus. We talked a little bit about NYP. Well, those were the folks that found me and encouraged me to get involved so many, many years ago. And so I want to say thank you to them. Next, I'd like to thank Vicki Wayman for being here. She's in shock right now. Vicki, this is Vicki's first Chamber event in her life. She is a lifelong friend, and she was my babysitter when I was a toddler. So she is the keeper of the secrets. If you need to know anything, talk to Vicki. My daughter Ella is away at college, but my son Luke is here, and he's a high school senior, going to be leaving us this fall. We'll miss you. Heading out to college. So we wish you the best, and we know you're going to come home with a lot of great stories. I imagine they will be PG versions by the time they get to us, but We wish you the best with that. And finally, my wife, Annalise. They say behind every great man is an even greater woman. I'm not sure about the great man part, but I know you're a great woman. So thank you so much. Thank you for supporting me. I couldn't do any of this without you. Now we come to the most special part of the evening. As you know, the Chamber created the Robert P. Bartz Award as a way to honor the legacy of Bob Bartz. It gives us an opportunity to celebrate all the things we loved about him, while recognizing leaders in our community who are making a difference and creating their own legacies. I hope you will take the time to read more about Bob in the tribute that's included in your program. You all know Matt Carraway is being honored as the 5th annual Bob Bartz Award winner tonight. We asked Neil Spiritus, former Vice President of Public Policy with the Manatee Chamber, to introduce Mac this evening. Neil served our chamber and our community with incredible distinction as a Vice President for over 30 years. Neil is now writing his 3rd book of poetry, and we are thrilled that he's with us tonight. Please welcome Neil Spiritus.
Thank you so much, Rick and Phil. You're a tough act to follow. I must say that Bob Bartz was too, but I'm happy to see the leadership. Jackie's done a wonderful job in his legacy, and I'm honored here to chamber members, honored guests. It's my pleasure. It's a distinct honor to be here tonight, and I thank Jackie for keeping me in the loop after all these years. I'm in the minority, I found out, with the poll that was just taken. And my hair's gone gray since I left the chamber, so. But I was worked with Bob Bob over 30 years, and I've been a friend with Matt Carraway for at least 25 years. And I honor him as the 5th annual Robert P. Bartz Award winner for outstanding leadership. I've known Mac in a number of leadership capacities over the years, but before introducing him, I'd like to refer you to the program as was just stated by Rick. I think it's page 10, and you can see the various accomplishments and successes that Mac has had over the years. One of the important roles that Mac played when I was with the Chamber was being on the Minnesota 2-county, it was called the Minnesota Water Basin Board. This was really a little bit before Piney Point, but he was appointed to that Basin Board 2 times by 2 different governors, and probably would have been appointed a 3rd time, except for they did such a good job that the organization was done away with. So Mac played a leadership role, outstanding leadership role, along with Betsy Benak, in water policy, funding, and various projects. It was whispered in my ear earlier by one of our former chairmen of the board that Mac was very instrumental also in negotiating with the city of Bradenton the Chamber's new office space. So those are 2 accomplishments I'd like to highlight. He was also considered the very first person to be interviewed for my position when I retired from the Chamber. Moreover, Bob Bartz always advocated diversity and the ability to do many things in many roles at the Chamber of Commerce. I know in the most recent past, all of us have had to do that, but Mac's many years that he served in capacities at Pacific Tomato Growers, at SMR, and as a CPA, he absolutely fit the Bob Bartz mold. Okay, let's then get to some important information about Mac Carraway. Mac Carroll's from Tallahassee, Florida. His brother-in-law formerly was the owner of Costello's, Clyde and Costello's. For those of you that haven't been in Tallahassee, it's a kind of famous pub and restaurant. And he's a diehard Seminole fan. He enjoys a little fishing, golf, and boating from time away from Carraway Consulting, and of course a passion for taking close-up pictures of birds at the crocodile at Robinson Preserve. Now we have a Wednesday business group that meets on a regular basis, and one of the group guys asked me, they said, how does Mac get so close to those birds? He said, he must be wearing a chicken suit. Mac, is that true or false? Also, your golf and fishing exploits. Remember, Mac, you gave me approval to do a little bit of a roast. Well, I'm not going to mention anything about keeping score in golf, except I am going to mention something that, what they say about the difference between a golfer and a fisherman. When a golfer lies, he doesn't have to bring anything home to prove it. That's supposed to be funny, but we know that CPAs have an honor code to abide by, but I've been checking around, and I should mention that it's hard to find any skeleton in Mac's skeleton's closet. But I've talked with your family. Mac, David, your son, for one, has told me that you spend an awful lot of time thinking about your golf game. And one time you were asked what day Phyllis and you got married. Some guys forget that for some reason. But you said, of course, I remember it was the same day I sank that 45-foot putt. The funniest thing, however, was when the three of us, David and Mac and I, played a little golf with Mac, and I asked David why Mac carried a spare pair of pants with him, and he told me it was just in case he got a hole-in-one, or a hole-in-one. In closing, seriously, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about Mac Carraway, the person, the human being, the mensch, and underscoring his character. What is character? We all know some characters, but let's look at the Greek philosopher Aristotle's definition, in which he wrote a book called Nicomachean Ethics for that very defining purpose. Character, as he said, is the sum, the total of all one's virtues. It's an excess and deficiency balancing act. Now let me give you a few of my viewpoints on Mac's character, his qualities, and by the way, all of them Bob Bartz exemplified. I'll only talk about 4 of them. And some of these have already been mentioned in other leaders here tonight. Mac's humility or selflessness, it really shines. He does not need to be one in the limelight. He can be on the sidelines, self-effacing while others shine. Did you know Mac actually had nominated somebody else for this award, not himself. And in fact, for a previous chamber chairman of the board had nominated Mac this year. Mac is a team player, as well as an ardent community-minded cheerleader for Manatee County. Being exceptional is a guiding quality among the 4 prerequisites when choosing the winner of this distinguished award. I first noticed that authenticity and leadership, outstanding leadership, when we went to Tallahassee and before legislators, and also as his chairman of the chamber of the board. I also believe it takes a good person to be a winner of this award, as you've probably seen in all the past winners. As Nobel Prize Award winner in literature and poet, Seamus Heaney described being good as something he strived for. I quote, a positioning in service to the world. In Hebrew, it is called tikkun olam. It certainly fits the bill with Mac. Being responsible, responsive, and detail-oriented are high qualities Mac possesses. Those of you that are Facebook friends with Mac might recall when Mac won the award, and it was publicly announced. The like page lit up like a fireplace. And if you look really closely on how Mac responded to that, each and every one of those, 100 or more comments, love signs, likes, and weird faces, he customized every one of his responses. Lastly, in closing, Mac's dry, subtle, articulate sense of humor. Now, Bob is a tad different here, but funny nonetheless. But Mac displays what our son calls zingers. Have you ever heard those? For example, you can see this on the screen. This was the picture he posted, a beautiful cardinal, and on Christmas. And I forgot, for those who don't know Mac, he's an outstanding fine art and wildlife photographer who specializes in Florida birds and botanical subjects. And Mac, I knew you wouldn't do this, but next Friday at 4 p.m. at the Ag Museum, he'll be doing a book signing. Okay, Back to the bird at hand. Mac posts these glorious birds and settings. Well, the New Year's Eve greeting on Facebook, and two of his followers look like this. This is Mac's humor. I don't hope you can read that, but it's so appropriate. Now, please join me in giving a rousing applause for the 5th annual Robert P. Bartz Award winner for outstanding leadership, Mac Caraway.
Thank you, Neil, my friend, and thank you all very much. I'm still trying to digest the chicken suit comment a little bit. I think more often than not, when people catch me at Robinson Preserve with my camera, nerd is the word that comes to mind. And Neil, I appreciate you mentioning my photography. I do love it. It's great therapy for all the years I spent in production agriculture. I have to say I was very surprised when I heard from Jackie about the award. Manatee County is blessed with many great leaders, so this is humbling to say the least. When I looked at the accomplishments of the prior honorees, that's a pretty good group. I know we are all very different people, and yet I know them, I've worked with them, and I've certainly learned a great deal from all of them. And I know for sure that we've all worked hard, but worked gladly, serving the community, serving this chamber and our families and our friends, all in our own ways. Tonight, of course, we're really honoring Bob, who was an incredibly special person. And as I've said before, he inspired me with his friendship, with his always hopeful outlook, and with his belief in doing the right thing, no matter what. I try to pass those things on whenever I can. One of the things that told me a lot about him early on was conveying his assurance, backed up by his actions, that agriculture, with its unique challenges, had a place at the table with the chamber. Not that I didn't have to work for it, however. I remember asking Bob about getting board support for an obscure federal legislative platform item dealing with agricultural fumigants on valuable row crops like tomatoes and strawberries. Spellbinding stuff, right? Agricultural fumigants doesn't roll off the tongue like workforce housing or an infrastructure investment. And Bob could have easily finessed me to forego it, but instead he said, sure. And then he paused for a second and he said, you just have to personally convince the board. So I had never, ever addressed the board, which was then, as it is now, loaded with very impressive people. So I was maybe just more than a little bit intimidated. So at the board meeting, Bob introduced the issue, and then already veteran board member Ron Allen led off the grilling. I mean the discussion. And after making my case for the importance of agriculture to the quality of life in Manatee County, the board agreed to give their support. But the point here is that even if they hadn't, Bob made sure that I, and many others to follow, had their day to make their case. It motivated me, and it locked in for me what were then and what are still, even more so now, some of the things that define Bob and this chamber. Things like opportunity and fairness, critical thinking, quality of life and service, and certainly last but not least, fun, which was always part of doing anything with Bob, even when it involved sometimes the hardest tasks at hand. So when it comes to service, I'm reminded of that famous quote early on in the movie The Godfather, when Don Corleone, think Bob, says to his old friend, Mac, someday, and that day may never come, I will call upon you to do a service for me. In Bob's case, for me, meant for Manatee County. And as it turned out, over the years, that day came more than several times. Let's just call them imitations from Godfather Bob, to work on one of his special service missions or priorities. And kidding aside, it was always something I was honored to do. Of course, now those invitations come from Don Jackie. I'll close with a few special thank yous to my smart, funny, and beautiful wife, Phyllis, to my hardworking son, fishing buddy, and all-around great guy, David, both for just putting up with me in general. A shout out to my awesome daughter-in-law who's carrying on this chamber tradition, Heather, and to Neil, Marie, and Jackie for being the most loyal and dependable friends a person could have. And lastly, to Byron Shin for bringing me to Manatee County, for getting me involved in the chamber, putting me to work on the Legislative Affairs Committee, and being a fantastic friend ever since. Finally, thank you to the selection committee for allowing me to somehow be included with this group of fantastic honorees. It's really a privilege to be in any way associated with Bob's legacy. So thank you and God bless you.
You know, Max set such a wonderful example for all of us. I'd encourage you to use Mac and Bob's example as inspiration for your own good work. Their humble, selfless approach to public service is a wonderful example of what makes Manatee County special. So now, before we draw the raffle winner, thank you to everyone who supported tonight's silent auction. So when you leave, you will see posters out there, and on the posters will be all the silent auction winners, all right? If your name is on that list, please go ahead and go to the tables that you can check out. You can pick up all of your things and take them home with you. We don't want to take 78 items back to the office, okay? So hopefully you can take your items home with you tonight. Now for the raffle drawing. Thank you to Joe and Linda Formella, co-owners of Formella Construction, for donating a 5-night stay at their beautiful cabin in Blue Ridge, Georgia. This is a lot of responsibility. It's Dave Bullock.
Dave Bullock. Congratulations.
Where is Dave?
He's at Ray Dowling's table.
Is that Ray Dowling? Ah, very good. Congratulations. So Dave, again, on your way out, as you go through the lobby, there'll be a table and you can pick up your award. To wrap up, I'd like to thank the many sponsors who invested in tonight's event. Please share your appreciation with them. I also want to thank our elected officials. Your partnership is incredibly important to us. I want you all to look around the room. Just take a quick moment, look around the room. You are the Manatee Chamber of Commerce. We're excited about what's ahead. Thank you for making our mission possible. And this meeting is adjourned.
as always, the Chamber's annual dinner is a way for the business community to come together and celebrate what leadership looks like. We are so fortunate to have the largest Chamber membership in the Tampa Bay region, with over 2,000 businesses and organizations investing in the mission of the Manatee Chamber, and that reach extends to all 68,000 employees of those companies as well. So that's what tonight is all about, celebrating the impact that business people make every day, even outside the four walls of their companies. The 5th annual Bob Bartz Award is no less meaningful than the inaugural award that we gave 5 years ago. The passing of Bob Bartz, an extraordinary leader, not just in the Chamber, but in the community, is something that we now can use as a way to recognize those that follow in similar footsteps to Bob's leadership style, and also inspire other leaders to step forward and be the type of humble servant leader that Bob was for this community. Tonight, we'll be celebrating the 5th annual award. Mac Caraway is the honoree, and Mac really is the epitome of the leadership style that Bob embodied, in that Mac has made a tremendous difference in the Manatee County region. Most of that was behind the scenes. He doesn't seek the spotlight, but he does the right thing always. One of the most powerful things about the Manatee Chamber is the ability to make a connection, whether that's a connection to one another as leaders, to learn from each other and inspire and support each other, whether it's a connection to potential new customers and clients, that's the lifeblood of business in our economy, or whether it's a connection to resources, to the expertise of a fellow Chamber member. The Chamber, because of the investment of the business community, makes all of those connections for our members. Really, it comes down to the people, the fact that business people live here, they own businesses here, they're raising families here, and they want to make a difference. You know, one of the things that I'm most proud of is the fact that the Chamber's mission here in Manatee County is to build a positive business environment. You know, that's no surprise. Of course, the Chamber of Commerce is interested in the economy and supporting businesses. But I think one of the differentiators for Manatee County and what they want our Chamber to be rests in the other half of our mission, which is to enhance our community's quality of life. You know, those are so important. We know that the success of a community relies on a strong economy, but also a strong quality of life, and they're completely interdependent. And we have more than 500 of our Chamber members that work on really important issues through our committee structure. The list goes on, but to me, it comes down to the people who want to make a difference right here in the community in which they live and own businesses.
You know, the Chamber has such an amazing legacy. It's my mission this year really is don't mess it up. I mean, I know that sounds like maybe a cliche, but if you look at the people that were the chairs before me, and you look at the folks that were the presidents and the history of the Chamber, it's an absolutely amazing organization. And if I can just keep it on track, we're really in a good position right now. I mean, coming out of COVID, we thought that we might be in a weak position, but we are actually in a very strong position. I think we're well positioned really for the future. So I'm actually really excited. Well, that is the mission. The mission is the combination of helping the business community, but also ensuring a high quality of life. They actually are hand in hand. So if you have a great business community, but you don't have a great quality of life, you can't attract people to the community, and your business community doesn't grow. You really do need both. And so the Chamber's involvement in things such as education or workforce or housing, these are all important parts of the equation, especially when it comes to business. Oh, we can never learn enough, right? You know, the educational programs are wonderful. One of the things we learned during COVID, I think, is the fact that we can deliver these things virtually just as well as we can in person. So the idea that we can start to not only continue the in-person activities, but do virtual activities, record these activities, continue to create a library of resources for our members, and again, connecting individuals in our community that need something with the expertise of those individuals who are able to deliver it. Yeah, they don't make words for that. No, I'm serious. They are absolute rock stars. They work incredibly hard. They have incredible dedication to the community, to the Chamber, to the people of Manatee County. I'm in awe every time. I think the Chamber of Commerce, since it's that largest business organization, in Manatee County. It is the organization that is the pivot point for a lot of the information, a lot of the community activities. The Chamber isn't just about promoting businesses, it's about promoting the community. So it's not only about helping the members, but it's like everything else that can be done to make the community a better place. So if you need the Chamber to help you with anything, if you feel that there's a role that we can play to make Manatee County a better place and to help businesses, just ask.
Charles, it's very humbling and a great honor to serve as chairman of the board for the Chamber. It's something that is rare, and not too many people have the ability to be able to do that, and is something that worked hard for, but yet it was very, very encouraging and just something I really enjoyed. Charles, I think some really good news is we had 472 new members this year, which is about 1.9 new members per business day every single day of the year. That's just an absolutely amazing statistic. We did grow. And as far as, reaching out to the community, we helped way beyond our membership intentionally, reached out to businesses that were not members, opened up our resources to them to help them through this very difficult time. We have an unbelievable relationship with our local delegation of senators, representatives, state and beyond. But specifically, our legislative committee comes up with a platform that's important, that is hashed and rehashed many, many times to make sure that we are addressing the issues that are important to the people of this community. We don't just focus on the businesses that are members of the Chamber, so the whole community benefits from our legislative efforts. Our real mission is to make Manatee County and our region a better place for people to live, and also to enhance the business opportunities within our region. And as we reach out in all of those areas, workforce, housing, schools, education, that just benefits each and every person in our community. And like I said before, we don't just reach out to our membership. All of those things are important to everyone within our community. Well, bar none, they are the best team and staff of any chamber. We're very proud of them, their expertise and their energy, their knowledge of how to effectively run a chamber of commerce is just unmatched anywhere. They make us look really good as board members, as chairman of the board, and the spotlight typically is on us. It really needs to be on them. They're absolutely amazing. One of the things that I always really enjoy and put a lot of effort into is our planning retreat. And it's something where we really look forward short term and a little bit longer term, what's important for our chamber to reach out and do for our community, for our members, and having a time with those particular leaders. We have educators, our law enforcement, government officials, all will come and enjoy that time together to get to know them, but yet have meaningful dialogue. And we come up with a lot of our initiatives and priorities as a result of that. That's especially meaningful. Charles, we are the largest chamber of commerce based on the number of members in the Tampa Bay region, over 2,000 members. And that's something that's really significant. We don't obviously have every business as a member. That might even be a little overwhelming if we did. But we are really excited about what we can do for the community, and our goals and our membership initiatives reach way beyond our members, and we're very proud of that and look forward to continuing in that mode that we've done in the past.
The opportunity to be here to accept the Bartz Award this year means a lot to me. Bob was an inspiring friend, an inspiring leader, just one of the great guys in the world. And his legacy with the Chamber is something that I think any of us would cherish an association with. It was one of the things that I discovered early on in my dealings with the Chamber, and especially with Bob's example, was that the Chamber is about quality of life in Manatee County, and that has to do with reaching out to the community in a variety of ways. And through the past honorees, and hopefully through myself, we do that in our own ways, helping with the business community, but also outside that with nonprofits, with the environment and other elements that make up the quality of life in this area. You know, Jackie has really picked up right where Bob left off, and of course they had a long and successful partnership during Bob's lifetime. So I think the essence of what Bob created in the Chamber remains with the Chamber, and Jackie really epitomizes that leadership. She has her own style, of course, and her own leadership qualities, but the thing about her is that she's so approachable. She loves the community, which is really deep down what makes it for all of us. Getting involved in the Chamber really means getting involved in the Chamber. We have a very diverse community, and that's one of the wonderful things about it. From agriculture to the large businesses in our community. But again, this chamber is a small business chamber, and during my time as chairman, that was never more important because that was during the recession. So a lot of these things have come together to be part of, you know, what it means to be part of this larger group. The Manatee Chamber, I think, forms a really exceptional element to what makes Manatee County a great place to live, to work, and to play. Bob epitomized all those things. We always had fun with Bob, but we were always working hard with Bob. So the Chamber pulls all of those things together. It's an inclusive chamber. It's one that also emphasizes critical thinking, but all of those things taken together, I think, are part of the quality of life in this community that we've come to expect out of the leadership of the Chamber.
Wow, the Chamber is a very important organization for our community, has been. It's the voice of the small business people, of the small business companies in the community. So much is needed in our community every year, and that voice really carries itself well in all the programs they do, the interaction between all the different companies. It's just invaluable. I really would not like to tell you how long I've been involved in the Chamber, but I was chairman of the Chamber in 1996, so that might age me somewhat, but well over 30 years I've been involved in the Chamber. Well, absolutely. They're sort of the conscience of the community. And that's so important. You know, that came from Bob Bartz, which, again, the award tonight is so wonderful, and the recipient is so deserving in Matt Caraway. It's really important because for our community to be as best it can be, it has to cover all those gamut. It isn't just about where you make money, how you make money, how do you progress. It's all those other things, social programs, where do we vision ourselves as a community, and that voice has been very strong for the Chamber over the years. Well, I think it's extremely important because, sometimes you don't get the voice you need in the state affairs because we're not the biggest community. We're not even the biggest community on this coast. But from the reputation that this chamber has allows us to carry that big voice in those state matters that we need to bring back to our quality of life. It's invaluable. Most chambers don't see the longevity that we've been able and had in our community. I'm fortunate in my year, 1996 was the year we hired Jackie. So I've sort of seen full circle. I've seen her grow, and she's matured into a true professional in our community, and I couldn't think of a better person to be running the chamber and continue that legacy that Bob basically created out of nothing. I think, whether you're a member because you're a business member or whether you're just part of the general public, they're fighting for all those things that create a quality of life that works for both the business community and the private sector, the private community. And even though they're not part of the chamber, people are still paying attention to what their quality is.
Well, this chamber and this community has meant so much to me personally and professionally, and I'm so proud of this chamber, from our president and CEO down to every staff member, every volunteer. It's a known fact that there isn't another chamber on the west coast of Florida that has the kind of collaboration, joint emphasis, and approach that this one does. And the great crowd gathered here tonight at the Manatee Convention Center is proof of that. It says a lot about that because we know that we can't do this alone. In this room tonight will be people who compete against each other in business, some who compete against each other in politics, some who have differing views on education strategy, but they have one thing in common. They want to try to do what's in the best interest of the total good for Manatee County, and that's what is so unique. And we honor tonight a man, Bob Bartz, who was for over 3 decades our leader. That was Bob's legacy. He brought that kind of unifying factor and trust to the chamber and to our community, and it's always a blessing to be able to honor Bob. You know, when chambers first began, they were business boards, and they really were mercantile almost in their approach. But as we grew, and certainly as Bradenton and Manatee County grew, we realized that issues of children, issues of homelessness, issues of food criteria that's important, food shortages, people who face food crisis, health challenges from those that are underserved, these are business issues. These affect all of us. And so I think the Chamber's done a marvelous job of creating a platform where people can come together recognizing a common problem and being able to collectively find the best solution. So today the chamber is a big tent, in this case it's a big building, and we have to make room for everyone in order to find those solutions that are for the good, for the best of our community. I would say to them that the Manatee Chamber of Commerce represents them. It's the collective body of where they work, where they shop, the people they do business with. Manatee County is blessed with a wonderful quality of life, and these are, despite what's going on all around us, these might well be the best of times if we can continue to look to each other, to live collectively, to be able to have the humility to recognize we can't do this alone, and the courage to collaborate even with those with whom we might disagree. It makes this chamber in this county a quality of life and a chosen place to live for so many.